motion will get called, and then he's going to lose more votes than Kevin McCarthy. And I have told him this in private, like weeks ago. There's only one person right now who can stop us from going into what happened last fall, and that's Mike Johnson. He's cleaning the barn, that's obvious. He had three things to do. He wanted to do an omnibus that broke all the spending records. He wanted to do FISA without warrants, and now he wants to do Ukraine. Those are the three things. There are people riding him like a horse here. They don't care when the horse collapses. I do, because it's going to throw our confidence into turmoil. If he would do what John Boehner did, when John Boehner had at least announced that he was cleaning the barn and said, I'm leaving, whatever it was, 8 weeks hence, or when you find somebody to replace me. If Speaker Johnson would do that, we could go without ever being speakerless, and we could be in control of it in the conference. But I'm afraid he is dead set, and the people who are pushing him are dead set on riding that horse until it collapses.
Congressman, can you clarify exactly?
You want him to resign?
What
yes.
exactly?
Yeah, I asked him to resign.
When did you ask him to?
He said he would not. I said, well, you're the one who's going to put us into this. Because the motion is going to get called, okay? Does anybody doubt that? The motion will get called, and then he's going to lose more votes than Kevin McCarthy. And I have told him this in private, like weeks ago.
So, I mean,
When did you ask him to resign?
yeah, when did you ask
Right
him
in
to
there.
Just today.
So, Congressman, help us understand that if he's not resigning, are then you going to push a motion to vacate this week?
No, I'm not going to call the motion to vacate. But I will tell you that if it is called, there will be a lot of people who vote for it.
How does a motion to vacate against Speaker Johnson help the country?
He, some would say we'd be rudderless, but we have a rudder. We're steering everything toward what Chuck Schumer wants. There has not been a change. I mean, if the country likes Chuck Schumer, then they should like what Speaker Johnson's accomplished in the House.
Divided.
Who would be their successor here?
Hey, there's no shortage between that.
Yeah, but we went through this last fall. It took 22 days.
And then we ended up with some guy nobody in America ever heard of, right?
So
There's always somebody.
But are you willing to do that again?
No, I'm trying to prevent that, right? Remember, let's start back at the beginning. If somebody calls a motion to vacate on the floor, then and it succeeds, which it will, now you have no speaker. And then you have a temporary speaker, and it's a hot mess. If, like when Boehner left, Speaker Johnson would announce that he is leaving as soon as we get another speaker, and that we can commence finding that person, or at a certain date certain in the future he will leave, then we still have a speaker. We have Speaker Johnson, who can pass all these wonderful messaging bills, do the things that we do. We can have subpoenas. The committees can still meet, and we don't have what happened last fall. He is the only one that can put us on that path right now.
And what if Democrats? What
Is your motion to vacate, Brett, conditional on anything? What would Johnson have to do? Would it be changing parts of this legislation, adding border security? Is it conditional to anything, or will it just happen?
I have no red lines. It's regardless of what I want, it's going to happen. And when it does happen, it's going to pass. The motion to vacate will pass. And so, is there something he could do now? I don't know, possibly. But right now, he's talking about some rule that 20 people are already pre-announced they're voting against, like maybe a dozen people.
What if Democrats come to save him here?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
There are many of your Republican colleagues.
And by the way, they would have to save him in the motion to vacate on the floor. Yeah. He can prevent all of that by resigning.
Why are you so confident that he would lose that vote?
The motion to vacate vote? Because I've talked to people, and I've also talked to people out in America, and they've seen, number one, he spent more in the omnibus than Nancy Pelosi spent. He's violated the 72-hour rule. He reauthorized warrantless spying, in fact, expanded that program, and now he's going for the Kentucky Derby's May 4th. I got to use an analogy here. He's going for the trifecta, the Triple Crown. He is going to pass the Ukraine bill that most Republicans in America are against.
Why not call it up and make it privileged right now?
Oh, you're late to the discussion.
There are many of your Republican colleagues, including those in the Freedom Caucus, who just came out from this meeting frustrated, angry, because they don't want to relive what they you all had to go through in October, and I understand your reasoning,
Right.
saying that, you may be able to find a conservative speaker. But even those members, even Freedom Caucus says, it's unlikely any of you all will be able to agree and find
That's a long
conservative
question.
Republican.
That's a long question. Which part of it do you want me to answer? Because I didn't say anything about a conservative speaker.
So then who are you looking for?
We need a speaker who is not doing everything Chuck Schumer wants.
But a consensus or moderate Republican might have to do that. Maybe
Might have to do that?
If a
No,
moderate
I think the
Republican
only
elected
way
or a
that Chuck-
consensus one
I think the
would
only way
rely
that-
on Democrats too.
I think the only way that Chuck Schumer gets the message that he can't roll every speaker we send over there is every speaker he rolls is no longer speaker.
So are you advocating don't move forward with the motion to vacate until there's a replacement you guys agree on? Is that what you're saying?
I'm trying to find a path. Like, I don't control the timing of a motion to vacate. Speaker Johnson has more control over that than I do, depending on his actions, and I don't know what people's red lines are. But what I'm trying to do is provide a path where it becomes obvious to him that he doesn't have the votes. I think it's obvious to him privately. I think he's just plowing ahead and seeing how many of these goalposts he can pass before he's no longer speaker.
But if Congressman Green brought the motion, forced the motion as privileged and brought it up for a vote in the next few days, would you vote for it if there was no successor?
If she brought it up, I would vote for it, and a lot of people would.
How does this help Republicans win, keep the chamber in November? How does this play into the election now? Does this hurt?
Our base. The polls are correct. They show that Trump is likely to win, and I've heard that confirmed behind closed doors by people who have credibility. But they also say we're likely to lose the House, and people are so tired of the betrayal in the House, and we've had two big betrayals with the third one to come. So if people see that somebody in the House, that not all Republicans are giving in and throwing in the towel and going along with Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer and Merrick Garland and Mayorkas, then they could be inspired to vote for people who are running in the general election as Republicans for the House.
Trump doesn't seem to want this. Does that affect you in any way?